Good morning. Today we are looking for better news in the most pessimistic book of the Bible. It's the book of Ecclesiastes, and wow, do we need more than just 10 minutes to explore this one. Instead of looking at a specific passage in this book, I just want to do an overview of the general themes of this book. If you haven't read Ecclesiastes before, you should. It will deconstruct what you thought you knew and serve you a big bowl of reality. It's wisdom, but it's harsh wisdom. It's a lot of melancholy. If you like philosophy, this is the book of the Bible for you. There's a lot of stuff in here about the meaning of life and existential questions. But even if you aren't into philosophy, like me, I go cross-eyed with philosophy, this book is still really engaging and thought-provoking. Now, it might leave you scratching your head, or it might leave you feeling really refreshed. It all depends on who you are and what stage of life you're in. If I was to boil it all down, the book of Ecclesiastes is about the difference between expectations and reality. Have you seen those funny expectations versus reality memes before? Like the difference between what you expect based on an advertisement and what you actually get when you buy the real thing. Or when you try and bake something amazing and it turns out looking like a low-budget horror film. You have certain expectations, but the reality can be depressing. Ecclesiastes is that experience in book form. There are two phrases that keep getting repeated throughout the book. Under the sun is one. This refers to this life, things done here on earth. And the other is usually translated as vanity or meaningless in your Bible. So the author again and again will say things like, life under the sun is vanity. It's meaningless. Now we could do a whole study on that word for vanity or meaningless, but we can't do it now, so we'll just use these English words. The idea here is that there are so many things that we do here on earth that don't actually guarantee happiness or success or satisfaction. Yet what happens is that people will spend their whole lives chasing outcomes that they ultimately don't have control over. And so chapter by chapter, Ecclesiastes will deconstruct the dead ends in life that we try to find meaning in. Work, it just burdens you. Wealth, it doesn't last. Even trying to live wisely may not bring you blessing. Now, that one's rather shocking because the Bible is full of verses about how the righteous will flourish and the wicked won't. Here are just a couple examples from Proverbs. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and what? He will make your paths straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun evil. This will bring health to your body and nourishment to your bones. Or in Proverbs 13, the light of the righteous shines brightly, but the lamp of the wicked is snuffed out. But then comes Ecclesiastes as a brutally honest reality check. Now it starts out like you would expect. Then I saw that there is more gain in wisdom than in folly, as there is more gain in light than in darkness. The wise person has his eyes in his head, but the fool walks in darkness. Okay, so far so good. And yet, I perceived that the same event happens to all of them. Then I said in my heart, what happens to the fool will happen to me also. Why then have I been so very wise? And I said in my heart that this also is, his favorite word, vanity. Or later in chapter 7, in my vain life I have seen everything. There is a righteous man who perishes in his righteousness. And there is a wicked man who prolongs his life in his evil doing. What on earth? The Bible is contradicting itself. Well, no it isn't. The book of Proverbs is just that. It's a book of proverbs. It's not a book of promises. Proverbs are statements of wisdom that say, here's how life tends to work out most of the time. Now, in modern Christian tradition, we like to claim Proverbs as foolproof ways to achieve certain outcomes. But the book of Ecclesiastes would say, no, that's vanity too. You can be a righteous, honest, wise person, and you still might not have success or health or wealth. And there are other people who are wicked to the core, who get great success and long life and seem to be very happy. And there are people who read that in Ecclesiastes and they get deeply disturbed. And there are other people who come to Ecclesiastes and they see that and they think, wow, what a breath of fresh air. Here's someone being real with me. However you take it, and either of those are perfectly fine ways to read this, we are left with the question of, what's the point of this? Like, what's the point of this book of Ecclesiastes? Why is it in my Bible? But also the topic of the book. What is the point of this life here? Because this book seems to be telling me that there is no point. Let's start with the book itself. The point of this book is not to depress you. The point is to wake you up. We need to be stripped of the idea that there exists some achievement or outcome or goal in this life, anything under the sun, that will actually bring us true meaning and fulfillment in life. We need to be freed from that pursuit. Let me share with you a quote from Madonna. Bet you didn't see that coming. So Madonna is a very successful musician, right? And this is something that she said in an interview in the early 90s, which was the peak of her fame. I have an iron will, and all of my will has always been to conquer some horrible feeling of inadequacy. I'm always struggling with that fear. I push past one spell of it and discover myself as a special human being, and then I get to another stage and think I'm mediocre and uninteresting. Again and again. My drive in life is from this horrible fear of being mediocre. And that's always pushing me. Because even though I've become somebody, I still have to prove that I am somebody. My struggle has never ended, and it probably never will. And come on, it's in a magazine called Vanity Fair. The irony is so wonderful because this is the very thing that Ecclesiastes is trying to prevent. Now, we might look down our noses at Madonna's career choice and pursuit of fame, but I think that many of us could relate to her underlying struggle, to avoid inadequacy and mediocrity, to find worth and value for my life in something. And into man's search for meaning, Ecclesiastes is a wake-up call. Work hard, yes. Be wise, yes. But don't spend your life chasing meaning in things under the sun, because that's vanity. It's like chasing the wind. And this book stands as an invitation to us to examine our own lives and to expose where it is that we're chasing meaning in life. There's so much more to this book in the details. You should read it all. But I want to share with you how the book ends. And then I have a question for you. These are the final verses. The end of the matter. All has been heard. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God will bring every deed into judgment with every secret thing, whether good or evil. The end. That's how Ecclesiastes wraps up. What is happening? So, recap. The book explores the vanity of life under the sun. And the book at various points says that following God and living wisely are important and good. But even if you do that, there's the reality check that life might still not work out for you. And then after all of these depressing musings, here's his closing advice. Fear God and keep his commandments, for God will bring every deed into judgment. Here's my question for you to think about. What does this ending mean? And I don't want to offer an answer to you because I want you to just think about this. You should read the whole book to get the best answer, but even just with the general overview that we've looked at, how does the author of Ecclesiastes come to the conclusion that the meaning of life is to fear God? Why is it that there is fulfillment or value in this? I mean, it clearly isn't because doing this means that life will work out for you. He's already debunked that. So if a comfortable, successful life is your goal, you're rolling the dice no matter what you do. But remember what we talked about. The point of Ecclesiastes is to strip us of our obsession with achieving certain outcomes under the sun, to free us from trying to chase meaning and significance in this life. Okay, I'm getting dangerously close to giving you my own answer to this question, so I'm just going to stop talking and let you think about this. And I hope that you do. I think mulling over this question can be really rewarding if you take the time. Because Ecclesiastes is basically the mystery meatloaf of the Bible. It's pretty depressing, it's made up of a lot of different elements, and you really have to chew on it to find out what's in it. Haha. Okay, that's my thought for you today. We're going to see which book of the Bible we're going to next. I'm going to push the randomizer button. I said spin the wheel like twice last week. Ugh. 2 Chronicles. Cool. I don't have anything to say. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe and all of that fun stuff I normally say. Thank you again. Bye.